Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews, and today we are going to check out another Jurassic World Dominion set. This is one of those really cool mini sets that are currently at Target. This is the Chaotic Cargo Pack, and this is a set that includes 4 dinosaurs as well as 1 human being. You can see it states that right here. And it also kind of lets us know that we don't know who the human being is, but we can see that there is definitely an Allosaurus in there, a Battle at Big Rock style Allosaurus, which is definitely a fun aspect to this set because we haven't had a Battle at Big Rock Allosaurus mini prior to this. But as far as the box art goes, I absolutely love it. I think it was a fantastic idea on the part of Mattel to go this route. And in general, really cool to kind of give us like this truck-like box and then kind of showing off that we can see 1 dinosaur, but we also have, again, the eyes looking out here of the side, the question marks, letting us know that we don't know who is inside, and then again a question mark for the driver. And then if we turn it around, you can see the back, pretty much the same thing. There's really no big difference or anything, minus the fact that we don't really have too many question marks over here like we saw on the initial side. But I'm very excited to check this out because I loved the first set of minis that we got, so I'm really intrigued to see what these ones are like. So let's pop the box open right now. So included in our box, we've got ourselves an Owen Grady, which right away is really cool. We've also got ourselves a Velociraptor Blue. We have had that figure prior. We also have the Allosaurus right there. And then we've got ourselves a Stegosaurus. He knocked the Allosaurus over, a different repainted version of the Stegosaurus. And something I think that's really exciting, we've got ourselves a Dimorphodon as well, which overall is another brand new figure here, one we didn't have in the first line of minis for Dominion. So we've got ourselves an Allosaurus and a Dimorphodon, again, 2 brand new figures there. A Stegosaurus, which is a repaint, but we also have the Owen, which is a brand new figure, and then Velociraptor Blue, which looks to be the same figure that we had in the main line of minis. But all of them look really cool. I'm definitely a fan of pretty much everything that I see here. The Stegosaurus sporting a very cool color scheme, similar to one that previously was released by Mattel. Of course, the Battle at Big Rock style Allosaurus is awesome because we haven't had that one prior. And a human figure as well entering the mini line is something completely brand new that we've never had in the past. So Mattel really stepping up their game when it comes to the new minis for Jurassic World Dominion. So let's go ahead and jump straight to a closer look at all of these right now. So starting with the Dimorphodon definitely has, of course, that very similar look to all of the previous Mattel Dimorphodons. I feel like they, capture the look of the figure in perfect minifigure form here with this release. Pretty nice looking coloration as well for the figure. Very small, definitely one of the smallest minis overall. You can see the head sculpt looks pretty nice. We do have a black for the eye, which is also nice to see. It's so small though, it's really hard to pick up on any real detail. Yet again though, we have a little area here on the underneath of the pterosaur, like a little hole, which kind of makes me feel like there would be like a peg or something to hold it up to display it, but there isn't in the packaging. But maybe they put that there just in case that's something you would like to do yourself. I don't know, but that would be a pretty fun way to display the pterosaurs from the newer Mattel figures. But you can see as far as the sculpt goes, we have some nice detailing here running down the back of the pterosaur. You can almost kind of see like pycnofibers sort of on the back. It's just so small, it's really hard to tell. You can see that we have some nice yellow coloration here leading out through the course of the wings on both sides. You've got that classic Dimorphodon tail as well. And again, detail-wise, it's pretty nice for what it is. It is another one of those really kind of squishy rubber figures, which is a very different material compared to the original minis from Mattel, but I think it's actually quite nice and definitely a very nice looking Dimorphodon, a really cool pterosaur species to enter the Dominion line. Then we've got Velociraptor Blue, and Velociraptor Blue I don't think we really need to take a look at because it looks like it's the exact same figure that we had just recently that I have already reviewed here on the channel. I went over it with the Wave 1 of the minifigures, so I don't feel like we really need to take a look at Velociraptor Blue yet again since we've already done that. Owen, though, is definitely a really fun figure, if it would focus on him. He almost looks like John Cena a little bit more so than Owen, but at the same time, it looks pretty good. The sculpting and detailing when it comes to a minifigure is fantastic. Like, you can even see wrinkles and everything in his pants. The paintwork is really good as well. You have a lot more paintwork on here than you usually see on minifigures. You can see that we've got the boots painted out. We also have the pants painted. We've got the shirt itself painted. If we can focus, there we go. We also have the hair, the eyes, and of course his skin and everything all painted out, which is really impressive considering the fact that this is a very small figure and it includes quite a bit of paintwork, and it's very nice and precise paintwork as well. It does look like we have some articulation, so we've got articulated arms, which is really cool. Articulated legs as well, yes. Of course, both move together. You can see the arms move together, the legs move together, but that's actually quite a bit of articulation for a minifigure as well. Definitely really fun to see a minifigure human character, something we haven't seen in the Mattel line before, especially one as nicely done as this. Again, you can see a lot going on when it comes to like his shirt. You can see his overall body structure, like his pecs and everything, even wrinkles in his shirt and everything. So fantastic minifigure there. Absolutely love the Owen figure, which is not something I often say since we've had so many Owens before, but that's a very, very new version of an Owen to me. And then we've also got ourselves the Stegosaurus. The Stegosaurus is the exact same sculpt as the one that we have recently taken a look at here on the channel, but we have a very different paint scheme for this one. As you can see, we have the majority of the body is a dark brown, and then as you lead up here toward the plates, you have some nice white tones, kind of spots in a few areas picking up before completely overtaking the back. And then we have some kind of greens that sort of outline a few of the plates here on the back. Now, I think the coloration looks nice, but I really would have preferred if they had this white coloration run the entire course of the back of the Stegosaurus, like all the way out here onto the tail, and then up here on the early plates on the back. It really would have looked nicer, but it still does look really cool, and the way that we have that light coloration playing off of the dark color really makes the figure stand out. You can also see that we do have some white here for the underside, which almost runs the entire underside of the figure, but some pretty nice coloration. There is also black painted eyes, which I didn't notice, or at least mention, but again, some pretty nice coloration for the Stegosaurus. Not something we've ever seen in the Jurassic series, but it is something that we've seen in the Mattel Jurassic series in the past, as we have a larger version of a Stegosaurus with a similar paint scheme, but definitely another fun figure with a pretty nice looking paint scheme. And then we've got ourselves the Allosaurus, which is the only figure we absolutely knew was included in here. And you can see again we have that Battle at Big Rock style Allosaurus now, which is pretty much how all of the Allosaurus look in Jurassic World anymore. We don't really see too many juvenile Allosaurus anymore, so we now have the more adult look for them. And you can see as far as replicating that style Allosaurus, they did do a pretty good job, though I'm not a huge fan of the paint application of this one. Like, it's nice, but it kind of looks a little bit more almost like it's damaged, because you can kind of see like some areas where it looks like it's like paint chips on it, and I don't think it's meant to look that way. Like, really abundant over here. I don't think it's meant to look like paint chips, but it is, and I'm pretty sure that is how the figure is meant to be, because of course this one was sealed up inside of a box. It wouldn't really be bumping around or anything too much, I don't think, so it doesn't like, it couldn't be damaged, I would imagine. So in my opinion, that's probably how Mattel wanted it. I could be wrong, but it just doesn't look all that great. Again, it looks more like paint damage rather than body color. But you can see sculpt-wise, again, we have some nice detail through the course of the Allosaurus. We also have an articulated jaw. You can open the mouth. You've got the tongue in there. The teeth are pretty nicely sculpted, though the blue coloration there on the upper side, of course, runs right over the teeth. You can definitely see that, so that's a little bit of a downside. We do have yellow or greenish eyes. It's so small, it's a little hard to tell. Definitely looks like a green, actually. And again, you've got the ridges running down along the back. You even have some, what looks to be potentially like scars or injuries on the side of the Allosaurus. Nice looking foot sculpt, minus the fact that, of course, it's huge. You do have some more of like the splotchy blue down here, again, kind of making it look a little sloppy as far as the paintwork goes. And then you have that classic Mattel curled tail for the Allosaurus that they almost always give the figure. But as a whole, it's really nice to see. Definitely a fun Allosaurus, and one that we know is, of course, in Jurassic World Dominion, so it's nice to see again. Some species in this set that we know are pretty much all present in Dominion, except the Dimorphodon. I don't know if we've seen one of those quite yet, but still a really cool set with some awesome minis. Now, as far as the size goes, I don't feel like we really need to measure each and every one. We will just run the tape measure here over the top to kind of give you a rough idea of the size. The Allosaurus and Stegosaurus are pretty much your usual when it comes to a Mattel minifigure size range. Like, they fit right in with the majority of even the previous minifigures from Mattel. However, you can see that Owen, the Velociraptor Blue, and Dimorphodon are obviously way smaller, and I love the fact that Mattel now is giving us smaller and larger figures rather than every one being the same size. I feel like this is way more appealing. You can also obviously tell that these are not actually accurate as far as the size goes to each other, but even again, still the fact that they are giving us smaller and larger figures, I feel like personally is fun and kind of a way to add a little extra to the newer Dominion minis that we didn't really have prior. But as far as a size comparison goes, there is Mr. Papo T-Rex, the Attack Pack Allosaurus, and Robert Muldoon from the Mattel Jurassic World toy line in comparison to our minifigures here, and you can really see that they are very small, especially the Dimorphodon. That Dimorphodon could probably fit in the Papo T-Rex's mouth, and he could probably close the mouth, you wouldn't even see him, it's that small. But I feel like the smaller size of these figures honestly makes them even more impressive because, again, with as much sculpt and detail as you see in these figures, being that they are so small, that really makes them, again, a much more impressive figure. So this chaotic cargo set from Mattel for the Jurassic World Dominion line is another really fun release, but it's not anything amazing, but definitely really cool. It's nice to see so much going on when it comes to the minifigure line, because for the longest time when it comes to the minis, we really just had like the most generic repeats of the series coming out. Like it would just be straight up repacks of so many figures and then one like metallic figure, and that was it. So it got very boring very quick, but it's nice to see that Mattel has completely given this line new life with so many new figures, and I hope that continues on into the future when it comes to the different minifigure releases, because I'm a huge fan of the minifigure line from Mattel, and I just really am so happy to see so much going on with it now. Like, we got all of the mainline minis, and then we of course have these minifigure packs, and we have like story packs and play sets and stuff coming out for the minis as well. So there's just a lot going on when it comes to the minifigure line, and that is awesome if you ask me. And in this set particularly, we have a human figure, and that again is pretty historic, I guess you could say, for Mattel, because that's not something they've done before. And the mini Owen is actually surprisingly really nicely done. Like, it's a beautiful sculpt, really nice paint job, and again, with some extra articulation in two different areas, it's a pretty impressive minifigure overall. They've done a very good job on that figure. And then you also have the Velociraptor Blue, which of course you would expect Blue to go with Owen. That's just the way they work. They're kind of a package deal, but the Velociraptor Blue figure is a figure that we've had prior, so it's not all that exciting, but it's still a pretty fun release. Then you have the Dimorphodon, which is really exciting to me. It's nice to see another pterosaur here in the Mattel minifigure line, especially one as nice as a Dimorphodon, one we've seen so much when it comes to the Jurassic World films, and of course Camp Cretaceous, but it's also fun to see that the Dimorphodon is so much smaller than all of the other figures. Of course, it's not, accurate to the size would be next to Owen or anything, but it's still a lot smaller than a lot of the other figures, and I love the fact that we have so much size difference between so many different figures. And then you've got yourself the Stegosaurus, which isn't the best figure in the pack, but it's okay. The sculpt is really nice, but the paint job, not so great, just because they continue to stop running the paint on the Stegosaurus before ever reaching the tail, and especially on a Stegosaurus, you would want the Thagomizers to be painted at the very least, and they don't do that, and of course they don't even paint all of the plates, so it's a little bit of a downside as far as that goes, but as a whole, it's still kind of nice looking. And then you have the Battle at Big Rock Allosaurus, which is really exciting because I love that Allosaurus. I love the appearance to it and the design they've come up with, and Mattel did a pretty good job kind of replicating it here for the minifigure. Sculpt-wise, it's great, but the paint is the only thing that I'm not a huge fan of because it's like the most basic generic version of the paint of that figure, which again is what you expect on the minifigures, but because they applied the blue so thick, it completely encases the upper teeth on the mouth, and also has kind of like that weird appearance to it where it looks like it's like chipped and everything, so it's a little bit of like a 50-50 as far as the Allosaurus goes. I love the sculpt, but I'm not a huge fan of the paint job. As a whole, though, this is a really fun set with some awesome packaging, so if you are interested, make sure you check the link that I will include in the description, where you can head on over to Target.com and place an order for it, or of course find it in store at Target as well. One way or another, I definitely recommend picking it up, so make sure you do that, and make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.